I know I'm tardy to the party with this subject, and I'm sure you've already seen it by now since it happened a few days ago.
I missed it.
But just like Game of Thrones Season 8, it just keeps getting worse. It's the Act Man
So
situation.
you're crazy! Okay, well, what the fuck? What is this?
Much love.
Dude.
I just want to say that I am a frog from Fortnite.
That's 100 fucking lava balloons, man. You're crazy.
You.
Happy Schla, man. Big love, dude. Fucking ants. Dude, okay, guys, I can't do it anymore. It's getting out of control. It's getting out of control. It's getting out of control.
Man versus YouTube. The Act Man is a large YouTuber who recently posted an hour-long video, basically an ESPN 30 for 30 documentary, on another YouTube channel going over all the awful things that they've done or said in their time on the internet. And as a result of posting this video, he received a strike. YouTube took it down due to nudity and sexual content because of a poorly photoshopped cucumber next to the person's mouth who the video was about. That seems like a pretty drastic over-enforcement of the rule. If they really found it to be highly sexual, it should have just resulted in limited ads as opposed to a full strike on the channel. Like, I've eaten a banana in a video before, and now I'm starting to sweat. Like, what might happen to me? It just really felt like one of those moments that was a full-blown mistake, and we've seen it a million times in the past, where the YouTube bots controlled by Skynet malfunction and issue a strike at random by accident, and then it's overturned shortly thereafter. However, the appeal was rejected within, I believe, 30 minutes of the Act Man submitting it, a manual rejection, which means someone with a pulse supposedly looked at it and still said, yep, that shit's staying off the platform. We're putting the kibosh on it right now. So then it became a little bit fishier. Why? The reasoning just doesn't make any sense. It's not like he uploaded Mr. Hands or 2 Girls 1 Cup in his video. It's a tiny,
there's gotta be more than that in the video. There's gotta be more than only one getting banned.
Video that had something that is slightly sexual and by all definitions pretty inoffensive. Almost no one's gonna look at that and be like, holy shit, cover your eyes. Oh my lord, he's going too hard. He's going hog wild out there. It's just not the most sexually explicit thing in the world. Even if they're going full Weenie Hut Jr. mode here, it's still pretty tame by those definitions.
YouTube is really bad with moderation. I mean, we know this already.
Sense. I also think this highlights another shortcoming YouTube's had since the beginning of time, where if a single minuscule piece of a video is a problem, they strike the whole video. They take the whole thing down instead of just letting you yourself remove that insignificant little piece, that 2 or 3 second little problem zit. Why not just let the creator pop it? YouTube has a built-in editor where you can take things out. So why not just alert the channel like, hey, the video's fine, but there's this one part that's a problem. If you want to keep it in, it's going to get
something. And I also pitched to
Susan, the CEO of YouTube, when I talked to her, and she thought it was a great idea, as did the policy head. That was 2 years ago. When is it coming? But anyway, in his anger, he turned to the dark side and committed the sin that every YouTuber is guilty of. He went to Twitter to start a shitstorm to finally force a real answer out of YouTube, to finally get an actual response and real action from the company. But unfortunately for Act Man, he ended up with YouTube's cucumber in his mouth. They responded to this by age-restricting 2 videos of his that were completely unrelated, and then just hitting the speedrun any % record for appeal rejections by slapping it down in 30 minutes. So, needless to say, the Twitter action wasn't super effective for Act Man, but this was only the beginning. Because as of 2 hours ago, YouTube wasn't done huffing and puffing. They blew his whole...
Yeah, you know what? This is kind of lame, because everybody knows on YouTube that dude, if you did a manual review of every big YouTuber's YouTube, they would end up with multiple strikes, right? Because there's some small, little, tiny things here and there that technically are against TOS, but aren't really a problem, and nobody gives a fuck. They're not really a problem. So I think it's just kind of weird that he asked for help because of something is generally a problem, and then they go ahead and retaliate by looking at stuff and just fucking smoking his ass. And that's
whole house down. They demonetized Act Man's entire channel, leaving him ineligible for future monetization.
Wait,
this is essentially being fired from his job, all without ever getting a single explanation as to why. It just happened. So this seems like a complete failure on YouTube's part here, and everything that resulted after the initial strike was done in pure pettiness.
Yeah.
There's one more thing I'd like to talk about, and it's a little unrelated to the exact Act Man situation, but it has to do with the way YouTubers get YouTube's attention directly. As you've noticed throughout the entire history of YouTube, every time there's a problem, people go to Twitter to talk about it, and vent about it, and tag YouTube in it. And the reason for that is because for most channels, that's the only means of getting a response from the company. Do you know how fucking pathetic that is?
That is pathetic.
To have people like Act Man, who are essentially employees, having to go on Twitter and publicly whine about their boss. That's so demoralizing. Having to grovel at their feet, cry and beg for just a little scrap of information as to what's going on, and if they can lend a little hand to fix a problem. That is just the
guys. They should have a threshold of certain subscribers on YouTube, where if you reach a certain point, whatever, right? They give an employee, right? There's a bunch of other creators, and if they have a concern because they got banned or whatever, right? They're now flagged as like, oh, this guy's account is problematic. Now you can ask them directly, a representative. At YouTube, at Twitch, we have this. If you're like a Disney big partner, you're assigned a partner manager. Mine's Pluto, and he has a lot of partners. And if we have a problem, we can just send him a DM, and then he talks to the company.
The worst system of all time. But that's the only way most YouTubers have any access to the company. And it seems to be the only efficient way of getting things solved. And I'm guilty of doing it too. I've gone on Twitter to take a fat dump Baruski on YouTube.
Well, see, you're saying don't compare the size of YouTube to Twitch, right? But listen, there's something I will always believe in, that I believe in it, and I will always do. You can always upscale things. You can always upscale, always, okay? If at the time, YouTube could afford, with their revenue and their company, to send every 100K subscriber channels a nice plaque, why did the plaque get worse? Why did the prizes get worse? Why did things get worse? Whatever. Okay? There's more people, they make more money, they can still afford to do the things that they did. If a company can afford having an employee per, let's say, 100 big partners, an employee, and they can afford to have an employee to do that and have a line of communication, they can afford to have it across the board as they scale the operation up and they get bigger. There's no excuse. I don't want to fucking hear it. I don't want to hear it, dude.
For something they fucked up on, because
you can always upscale. Always.
I try every other alternative, going through all of the proper YouTube channels, but it never leads to solutions. The only thing that does is by making a big hubbub on Twitter about it. It's just so pathetic. No YouTuber or anyone wants to be publicly whining on Twitter about a problem. They want it to be fixed behind the scenes, and YouTube shouldn't want it to be a big problem on Twitter either. The xMemerMAN shit has been trending for like 12 hours now. It's like the #1 trend in the world. And it's bad for YouTube, but he's tried everything else. He's been talking to his partner manager, whom I'm just going to say seems like has no power in this situation, which is about par for the course, because a lot of times partner managers have absolutely no ability to solve problems. They're fundamentally just...
This dude always uses his personal perspective on judging things. I mean,
hall monitors for the principal, but don't actually have any level of power, unfortunately, though I do believe they should, because every partner manager I've ever known at YouTube is a great person, really on the side of creative.
You base a judgment on things from your perspective.
But their hands are tied with what they're given from the company and how to handle problems.
That's how humans
So the
work.
only thing YouTubers can do is, once they exhaust their partner manager, if they even have one, and once they exhaust all the official channels, all they can do, the only thing left, is to make a big deal about it on Twitter. And it sucks. It sucks for YouTube because they look like shit, per usual, and it sucks for the creator because no one wants to just be publicly, making a big scene about shit that should be private. It's just so...
Yeah, I thought there was more to this. I thought there was more to this.
Frustrating that it's been like
this. When I'm on Twitter, there was a bunch of other tweets about some
They need to
shit,
improve the communication.
Yeah, okay.
When I had a conversation with Susan, this was one of the things I brought up, and I was told that they're working on making that better. That's been 2 years now, and it's still the same.
Okay. I'm good. We can go next then. Okay, what else is happening? What else? Because I don't want to be...
Charlie makes me cream back chest.